Howdy! How are you all out there in YouTube land today? I wanted to show you how you're going to finish this blanket. And there'll be some pausing and starting back up on my end here, but for you it's all going to be one piece, so you'll need to pause the video where necessary for you to do what you need to do. But I showed you how to make the granny square, and I showed you the first 3 rows of it. And then you just continue in the same pattern until you get it done. This is my finished piece. I do 6 rounds on my granny squares for this particular piece. You can do however many rows you want. You can make your whole blanket one granny square if you want to. But this is my completed piece for one. Now my blanket consists of 20 of these, and I'll tell you why. A basic receiving style blanket, it measures 30 inches by 36 inches. You can look all these blanket sizes up on Google. It's very simple. Just put in baby blanket sizes or blanket sizes, and they'll give you charts on what they are. But your basic receiving blanket is 30 by 36, so that's how I wanted to make this blanket up. And for mine, my squares measure 7 inches across. So 4 of them across the blanket would be 28 inches. 7 times 4 is 28. That's real close to 30. And keep in mind, we're going to be putting a border on this as well, so it'll be 30 inches by the time we get it done. Then 7 times 5 is 35. So 35 inches is real close to 36 inches, so you want 5 down. 4 across, 5 down, and 4 times 5 is 20. Alright, and then we're putting the border on, so 35 will soon be stretched out to 36, or maybe just a little bit more than that. So that's going to be the size of my particular blanket, is 20 of these squares, 4 across and 5 down. Now, I have put my blanket together all except for this last square, because I'm going to show you how we put these squares in. Now, everybody's got a different way of doing this, alright? So you can look up a myriad of different ways of how to put your squares together on the internet. I'm showing you how I do it, alright? And it looks like a little sewn blanket when you get it done, alright? But here's how it's going together. Now, my particular yarn had different colors all in the yarn color. It wasn't variegated. Variegated yarn is where you have like a little strip of blue and a little strip of purple and a little strip of another color, you know, lavender or whatever, you know, and it'll be just little pieces. This one will be a great big, you know, like quarter pound of yarn will be in a gray color, and then a lighter gray, and then color like this, and maybe a lighter pink. You know, it's got different colors all up in the yarn. Alright, so now this one I've got 5 down and 4 across, all except for this row. This particular row's only got 3. We got one corner here that we got to put in, because I wanted to save this to show you how to do it. Now, I turn my blanket to the wrong side and lay it out here. And we take the square and we lay it down there, just like that. Alright, so you're going to need a flat surface to start this out on so you can lay it all out. Now, you're going to take your needle and take your ball of yarn, get your end, and I make a loop. We've done this a blue million times here. You make a loop just like this. And now, before I put it on, I'm going to come over here to my piece and we'll find the end and just put my needle through the end and put my needle through an end, and then I'm going to take my yarn where I made that little loop and I'm going to stick that right on there. Let's see if we can get this closer to the camera so that you can see what I'm doing here. So yeah, put it through the first square, put it through the one I'm joining on, put the loop on the hook, and I'm going to pull it right through just like that. Now, line them all up, put your hook through, put your hook through, so you're joining the 2 pieces together. You yarn over Make sure it's not the tail that you just put on there. Knock that out of the way. Take the yarn from the ball, put it over the hook, pull it through the two pieces, and then pull it through the loop that you have on the hook. And you're going to continue that all the way down. This is a slip stitch. You put it through the two squares and then yarn over, pull through the two squares, and pull through the loop on the hook. Just like that. And you're going to do that all the way around. And make sure that you're keeping it even as you go. Your pieces should be even so they line up good as you go. And we're just going to continue that all the way around. Now, you might say, well, Brenda, that puts kind of a ridge in your blanket there. You know, I'm used to seeing crochet pieces that are flat. Well, yeah, there's ways you can join them so that they're flat. But I like for mine to look more like a little quilt when I get done with it. And this makes it look more like a little quilt because you got your little seams in there. Now, I flatten those out, and I'll show you how I do that in the next segment of this. So for right now, I'm just going to continue around and hook my piece in, and then I'll be back to show you how I flatten out the seams. Okay, here we are for part 2 of this. I got the square added to the blanket, and now I'm going to show you how to make these ridges flat. You see how these are raised up here, and over here, you see how they're pretty much flat. And I'll show you how I'm doing that. You take a towel and you lay it down on your work surface, or you can use an ironing board. You get you a washcloth, wet it, wring it out till it's almost dry. You don't want any water, you know, dripping out of it. And you're going to get your iron. I've got an iron here. This is a steam iron, but I've got the steam turned off, and I've got the temperature set at the silk wool setting, which is about medium on there. And you lay it out with the seams pointed up. You take your cloth and you put over. Now, you do this, you only have to do it one time. It lays them down, and that's the end of it. You can wash this, do anything you want to do to it, and the seams are not going to raise back up. But then you just take your iron and you press down, and it makes its own steam with that cloth being damp the way it is. And you just press on those seams where they are, and the steam will lay those seams all flat. And you have to go over every seam on it, but you only have to do it the one time, and it lays them down. And this gives your blanket more of a quilt look. Like I say, there are other ways you can join the squares together that lay them down flat if you want to use those methods. This is a quick, easy method to teach you how to do it, and it's just that quick. Now this one needs just a little more work here, but see how those are just as flat as they can be? So we'll put the cloth over this one, and we'll come over here, and see, I'll just leave it down for maybe 2 seconds, lift it up, move it around, and it steams those seams flat. Once we get the seams flattened down, we have one more step to finish the blanket, and that is the edging. And now I plan to put a pretty little scalloped edge around this little blanket. It doesn't take very long to do that, comparatively speaking to everything else that we've done here. So I'm going to finish steaming my seams, and then I will come back and show you how to put the edge on the blanket. We'll see you here in just a moment. Okay, we're ready to start putting on the trim that we're going to crochet on here. I'm using the same yarn, same needle. We're going to pick a corner, any corner. It doesn't matter which corner. And you're going to start right here in this corner. You're going to make your loop, slip it on your needle. We're going to start with a slip stitch in there. So you get your yarn that's coming from the ball, and you go through the loop and through the loop that's on the needle. There's your slip stitch. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, where you just put that chain stitch in the 3 chains, you're going to do a double crochet, and you're going to do that 3 more times. It'll be a total of 5. You got your chain 3 for 1, you got that double crochet, you're going to do the 3 more double crochets, and that will make 5. That is what's going to make our scallop. Then you count down to the next hole in your work where your bridge stitch is, and you're going to go through, pull the loop through, and pull it through for a slip stitch right there. And again, you do the same thing. This is just going to be a series of repetitions all the way around the blanket. You start with the 3 chain stitches, and then you do 4 double crochets. Let me get my yarn pulled up here. There we go. So we have something to work with. To make a series of 5, and that is what makes your scallop stitch. And you do that all the way around the blanket. Find a bridge, slip stitch. Okay, now let me lay this out so you can see what's going on here. These are just going to be little scallops. They go around the blanket. There's the first one, and there's the second one. Now I'm going to do a few more of these to show you how this works. Remember, chain 3 after your slip stitch. That brings you into your loop. Whoops, I'm sorry. Boy, I messed that up, didn't I? Alright, we chained the 3. I forgot to do the scallop, didn't I? 4 double crochets. See, even the teacher messes up. You count that chain 3 as your first double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then you come down here and do a slip stitch. And chain 3. And do 4 double crochets in that bridge. And then you go to your next bridge and do a slip stitch. Let me lay this out so you can see. See our pretty little scalloped edge that we're putting on there? I've got 4 of them done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do 1 more, and then I'll shut off the camera and finish this up and bring it back done so you can see the finished result. But let's get some yarn going from the ball here so we have something to work with. Chain 3. Do 4 double crochets. Slip stitch in the next bridge, and you're ready to do it again. 3 chains, 4 double crochets, move down, do a slip stitch, then do 3 chains, 4 double crochets, move down, do a slip stitch. It's just that simple. It's repetition all the way around the blanket, all the way around it, because even when you get to the sides are going to be the same thing because it's a granny square. You got your bridges, and you just keep working all the way through. When you get to the joint where you joined them together, you know that that is a corner right there, so you'll be putting a scallop right there in that corner, and you just do that all the way around your blanket until you get back to the end and you end it off, and then you weave in your ends. It's just that simple. So I'm going to finish this up, and I'll be back with you here in a little bit and show you how it looks finished up. Okay, I've got the entire edging done and I'm back around to where I started. Right here, where we started, this was the very first scallop we put in. What I have done here, I'm going to back this out so that I can show you what I've done. You've just finished your last try that again. You just finished your last double crochet right there in that spot, and you're back around to the corner. So what we're going to do is a slip stitch right here, and then I'm going to pull the yarn through again, another slip stitch, and pull it up just like that. And we're going to take the scissors and cut the loop. Pull out the yarn that goes to the ball and take this tail, tighten it down. Then you have the tail from where you started and the tail from where you ended. Those are going to get woven back through to finish it off. And I'll try to get this so that I can give you a little better view of the scalloped edge. But there's the scalloped edge on the blanket, and it's gone all the way around. Here's where we started off. And that's how that works, all the way around the edge of the blanket. The blanket will be done as soon as I weave those two ends in. The seams on the back are nice and flat where I steamed them down. Get it under the camera where you can see as I steamed them down there. And you probably noticed that my fingers bandaged up. I got into some poison sumac and I've got it all over me. But I bandaged my finger up real good because I knew the yarn would be rubbing across that, and I did not want the yarn aggravating it. So I bandaged it up good. But there is our blanket, all crocheted up. And I know I'm not getting a very good camera angle on this. Let's see if I can raise the camera up here a little bit and get a better view. Doing this on the fly. Stand it up there and get this spread out where you can see a little more of it. There it is. But there's our granny square blanket with our nice little edging on the edge of it, and it's just that pretty. So I thought you would enjoy seeing how this whole project came together. Now you have done your first blanket, and you can back up on these videos, go over them, watch them again, over and over again, however much you need to watch them in order to get the steps down in order to complete the project. It is a process of repetition in order to be able to do this. What I plan to do in the future on these crochet videos is once a week or once every couple weeks I'll try to bring you a new stitch, show you how to do something new with your crochet. If there's something special that you want me to show you, then mention it in the comments and I'll see what I can do about that for you. But I hope you enjoyed this series of videos on how to crochet, and I hope that it has encouraged you to give this a try, because it's very simple. A string, a stick with a hook on the end of it, and making loops. That's all it is. Don't try to make it anything more than what it is. And with that, I guess there's only one thing left to say, and that's Brenda's crafty. Be like Brenda.